Why this little island is at the mercy of the China-US tensions. Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about Fuga Island, a strategically located island in the Babayan Archipelago in the Luzon Strait. This island plays an important role in preventing China from entering the gateway to the Western Pacific and beyond. Whoever controls the Luzon Strait could easily establish military superiority over the vast Pacific Ocean. In 2019, China offered to develop Fuga Island into an industrial park named Smart City. However, there is a catch. It will be exclusively for Chinese use, and no Filipinos will be allowed. That means that the current 2,000-plus Filipino residents of Fuga Island would have to be relocated. After the takeover, the island would quickly build an all-weather airstrip and a deeper harbor, enabling it to influence sea and air traffic in the Luzon Strait. This would have a direct impact on Taiwan, which would suddenly face escalating threats as a renegade province of China. But fortunately, things are changing on Fuga Island. These days, a detachment of Marines watches its coastline closely, and the Coast Guard regularly patrols the area. They might soon be joined by US troops too. So, if you want to stay updated on this issue and learn more about it, please take a second to hit the subscribe button so you know exactly when we drop next. And with that, on we go. The geopolitics of Fuga Island, a new Cold War frontline. In 2019, Fengji Enterprise Corporation, a Chinese company, recognized the potential of Fuga Island, which is adjacent to two critical passages, the Luzon Strait and the Bashi Channel, that provide access to the South China Sea and the Pacific. Fengji Enterprise Corporation entered into an agreement with the private company that holds the title to the island, Fuga Islands Holding Inc., to build a smart city as part of a $2 billion project. However, the plan caused concern in the Philippines security establishment, which worried about giving the Chinese an observation post within the country's borders. As a result, the military quickly reached an agreement with regional leaders to establish a Navy base on Fuga. Although the Smart City project did not materialize, several other China-funded projects were planned for the province, including manufacturing facilities, a high-tech industrial park, and an airport expansion, among others. Fuga Island's strategic value to either superpower, as well as the Philippines, cannot be denied. In August 2022, the People's Liberation Army, PLA, Navy used this route during exercises near Taiwan. It's against this backdrop that the US has now entered the fray. Retired Rear Admiral Ramel Jude Ong, who is now a professor of praxis at the Ateneo School of Government in Manila, says that the US military deal will enable the Navy to monitor vessels and traffic, and provide a base of operations for naval and air operations in the northern border. According to Alex Vuving, a professor at the Daniel K. Inouye Asia-Pacific Center for Security Studies in Hawaii, a location in northern Philippines would give the US access to Taiwan and the South China Sea, two major places on the lifeline of Asia, and the frontier of the great power competition of our time. Therefore, Fuga Island has become a significant geopolitical hotspot, attracting the attention of both China and the US, with each vying for strategic advantage in the region. EDCA and its implications for local communities. Despite concerns over China's expanding influence in the region, the inhabitants of the previously neglected island are benefiting from the attention it's now receiving. The village chief on Fuga, Melchor Visario, notes that the island is receiving more services than ever before. Due to the island's remoteness and the difficulties associated with sea transport, the island must rely on its own resources, particularly during the windy months when small boats cannot sail to the mainland. The island has an elementary school and patchy internet service. However, medical facilities require a boat ride away. Although there is an old airstrip on the island, it's owned by a private company, and it is uncertain whether it remains operational. The regular trips of the Navy and Coast Guard have, however, provided the island with more regular supply runs. The Marines also brought a power generator, which is used to turn on the TV for the early evening news, drawing nightly crowds at their base. Homes on the island rely on small solar power units to run lights and charge phones. Government workers also arrived to teach women dressmaking, and they now wish to receive training on baking for those months when no one can travel. In March 2022, the Philippine and U.S. militaries hosted war games in Apari, the municipality in which Fuga lies. residents were enthralled by the display of helicopters, amphibious assault ships, and a surface-to-air missile defense system, which showcased a coastal defense strategy. The war games offered a foretaste of EDCA, according to Father Manuel Catral, parish priest in Apari. He says the locals welcomed the presence of the U.S. troops, and he himself was quite impressed with the hardware they brought. However, he says there needs to be more conversation if an EDCA facility, that's Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, is going to be built and U.S. troops are to stay longer. Some of the fishing grounds were closed during the war games to protect residents. The priest also noted that an EDCA facility would be an important issue for the people. In April, the Philippines and the U.S. will carry out their biggest ever joint military exercises, called Balikatan, or shoulder-to-shoulder drills, which are designed to project stability and deterrence. However, tensions are rising in the region, and the U.S. military is growing increasingly pessimistic about avoiding a Chinese invasion of Taiwan in the next few years. New military alliances, such as AUKUS, are being formed to counter Beijing. As uncertainty spirals and the risks of miscalculation increase, retired Rear Admiral Ong believes that the Philippines cannot avoid getting involved if the Taiwan crisis erupts into a conflict. It's the curse of geography. The EDCA and Fuga Island, strengthening U.S.-Philippines defense ties in the South China Sea. As tensions continue to mount in the region, Fuga Island's location has become increasingly sought after. The landmass is situated within Cagayan, which is one of the provinces identified as a potential site for the U.S. military under the EDCA. This agreement permits joint training, construction of temporary facilities, and storage of equipment and supplies. President Marcos Jr. has taken a more robust stance against China's aggression in the South China Sea than his predecessor Rodrigo Duterte. He has strengthened diplomatic and security ties with the U.S., Australia, and Japan. The Philippines has reported dangerous maneuvers by the China Coast Guard in the Spratly Islands, and in February accused Beijing of pointing a military-grade laser at a Coast Guard vessel. In the midst of escalating tensions, Marcos has agreed to expand the number of sites that the U.S. military can access under the EDCA from 5 to 9. Discussions are still ongoing regarding which sites to choose, but local military analysts believe that Fuga offers the most strategic value. Unlike other islands in the area, Fuga has topography that can accommodate an airport and a seaport. Melchor Visario manages the island's meager resources and 6 scattered communities. He welcomes the presence of the Marines and Coast Guard to protect the island, as his village officials cannot cover the entire area. Visario has seen an increase in visitors in recent years, as attention on the island grows. Residents of Fuga fear that one day Chinese forces may occupy the island, while the likelihood of China's military invading Taiwan remains a topic of debate. The residents' concerns about Fuga are very real. Marlon Aris, a 46-year-old resident, believes that they will be safe with the security forces on the island. They have nowhere else to run, and they cannot fight the Chinese on their own. Fuga Island remains a highly contested and strategic location in the region. It's important to keep a close eye on developments like these and stay informed about what's happening in the world around us. So if you haven't already, please take a second and hit the subscribe button to stay updated on our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.